From top-secret stealth fighters to vertical landing jets, these are the most advanced fighter aircraft in the world. Number 7. Eurofighter Typhoon, European Union. Introduced only in 2003, the Typhoon is actually the oldest aircraft on this list. It took its first flight in March 1994 and was originally supposed to be an air superiority fighter. Nowadays, it's considered a multi-role jet and performs different combat missions. The Eurofighter Typhoon is produced by the Eurofighter I'm not even gonna. GmbH, a multinational company headed by German, British, and Italian companies. The latest jets come at a cost of $110 million. The program started before the end of the Cold War, and when the Berlin Wall fell, the Typhoon faced uncertainty. Many people disagreed with the need for such a jet in a peaceful Europe. As of 2017, the Eurofighter Typhoon has amassed over 200,000 flight hours and is in use by 9 countries. Even though it was introduced in 2003, the jet has seen many upgrades and million-dollar contracts are still awarded for future ones. Number 6. F-35 USA. The Lockheed Martin F-35 Lightning II family of fighter aircraft was developed in the early 2000s. It all started with the X-35, a prototype for the Joint Strike Fighter program from the 1990s. The first official flight of the F-35 was in December of 2006. Since then, the US military plans to order more than 2,500 aircraft. When I say this, I mean that the F-35 will be produced until 2037 and has been projected to be in service until 2070. Crazy, right? It's not cheap either. The jet costs between $94 million to $122 million each. There are 3 main variants: the F-35A, B, and C. Each model has specific use cases, but they all come equipped with these futuristic helmets that have incredible heads-up displays. As it turns out, all that experience you have in battlefield might be worth something in the future. The F-35A is the lightest and smallest version, but it does have a 25mm internal cannon ready to go. During development, it was expected to replace the 810 Warthog, but that doesn't seem likely anymore. The F-35B is the STOVL variant. In other words, short takeoff and vertical landing. Yup, vertical landing. And there it goes. Finally, the F-35C will be primarily used by the US Navy, thus it is called the carrier variant. Number 5. Sukhoi Su-57, Russia. Developed by PAK-FA with the codename T-50, this multi-purpose air superiority fighter jet is the first stealth technology fighter in Russia's military. At a cost of around $50 million, the Su-57 intends to replace the MiG-29. It took its first official flight in January of 2010, and it is supposed to be introduced in active combat by the end of 2018. In other words, brand spanking new. This 5th-generation fighter was jointly developed by India and Russia, and after 15 prototypes, it was ready to be revealed. With a range of 2,175 miles and maximum speeds of 1,320 miles per hour, this fighter will protect the skies with around 30,000 pounds of weaponry. Number 4. Chengdu J-20, China. Introduced in 2017, this all-weather fighter took its first flight in January 2011. It will be the main air superiority fighter of the Chinese military, and it is believed to be already in service. Each unit costs about $110 million, and right now there are 20+ J-20s in use by the Chinese. The stealth characteristics of the J-20 resemble the shaping and design of the American F-22. The first official test flight occurred at the same time that the United States Secretary of Defense was visiting the country. Some people took that as a show of power. Number 3. Mitsubishi X2 Shinshin, Japan. As of right now, not a lot is known about this fighter aircraft, but we do know that this is Japan's stealth technology testing baby. And on a side note, Mitsubishi builds military jets. Nice. The main reason behind the existence of the X-2 is the USA's reluctance to release the F-22 to allies. Why, you might ask? To safeguard secrets of the F-22's technology. Currently, there is only one prototype, and its first flight was in April 2016. The program is still in very early testing phase, and by the time it is finished, the total costs will be in the billions of dollars. Right now, it has a range of about 1,800 miles and can reach top speeds of 1,500 miles per hour. Number 2. F-22 Raptor, USA. Possibly the most controversial aircraft on this list is the F-22 Raptor. It took its first flight in September 1997, and at the insane cost of $150 million per unit, it has had its issues. Lockheed Martin started development of the Raptor in 1986, and by 2005, the F-22 Raptor was ready for combat use. As I mentioned earlier, the F-22 is banned from export under US law, since it contains top-secret technology that cannot fall into the wrong hands. In 2006, the Raptor's need was challenged. Some people believed there was a lack of relevant adversaries for the fighter jet. Thus, there was no reason to produce any more of them. Ultimately, the F-22 Raptor was limited to a production cap of 187 aircraft. Some government officials believed that 187 units is not enough to defend against rising threats from China and Russia. The F-22 is praised for its stealth technology, and it is believed to be years ahead of previous stealth fighters like the F-117. However, there have been serious issues with the aircraft as well. 6 Raptors undertook their first overseas deployment in 2007 and suffered major system failures when crossing the 180th meridian, known as the International Dateline. The aircraft had to return to Hawaiian bases by following tanker aircraft. Pilots have experienced loss of consciousness and memory loss during flights, mostly due to oxygen supply disruptions. Since 2011, Lockheed Martin has worked on fixing these problems. Regardless of all the bad press, the US Air Force strongly stands behind the Raptor's capabilities. Number 1. 6th generation fighters. Considering some of the aircraft we talked about are expected to be in service until 2070, it is strange to think that they might be inferior by 2030. But war never sleeps. The US Air Force and Navy are both expected to reveal their 6th generation fighters between 2025 and 2030. These top-secret development projects will be, without a doubt, the most advanced fighter aircraft in the world, beating out anything currently in production. Companies like Boeing have released sketches of their proposed FA-XX concept designs. Judging by these 2 pictures, the jets will have extraordinary stealth capabilities. Northrop Grumman went above and beyond in showcasing their vision for the future of warfare. In 2016, Northrop Grumman paid for a Super Bowl ad to show off their vision for a 6th generation fighter. These designs look insane and remind me more of a video game than real life. Do you think there is a possibility that the 6th generation fighters will look as cool as these designs? What do you think the capabilities of the future technologies will be? Any projects that I missed? Anything you disagree with? Comment below.